Hello, for this assignment, we're going to read the story and answer some questions. Okay, let me make this a little bigger. A tough decision, making friends on the job. Jerome wanted people to like him, especially the high school employees at Big Buy. Some of the grown-ups were really friendly. A few of the high school kids were, but some of the guys ignored him. Once in a while, he heard them laughing when he walked by. He wondered why. Jerome wondered particularly about James. The other guys always clustered around James. He seemed to have lots of friends. At times, James went out of his way to talk to Jerome. At other times, he acted like as if Jerome didn't exist. Since Jerome had his new bike, James seemed more interested in Jerome. In fact, he went out to look at Jerome's bike. He said, "That bike is a beauty. It needs a name. Big Red. That's what I'll call it. I wish I had one like it." That made Jerome feel good. Maybe James was beginning to be a friend. That's why it is such a tough decision when James asked Jerome if he could borrow Big Red sometime. Jerome wanted to say no, but he was afraid James wouldn't like him, so he said yes. Jerome, okay, if I take Big Red, Jerome, okay, if I take Big Red to Burger Mac tomorrow? Sorry, today? James asked. I'll be careful with Big Red. No need for you to worry about that. Jerome barely had time to think before James continued. Hey, isn't this the key to the lock here in your pocket? James did not wait for Jerome to reply. Laughing, he put his hand into Jerome's shirt pocket, grabbed the key to the bicycle lock, and zipped out the door. From that day on, James continually seemed to need Big Red for some special reason. Jerome noticed that James was super friendly around lunchtime before he took Big Red. When James returned with Big Red, he rarely thanked Jerome. During the rest of the day, James paid little attention to him. Jerome thought that James' behavior was strange. He wished James would save money and buy his own bike. He was not happy that James was always taking Big Red, but Jerome was unsure what to do about it. He thought maybe Shauna could help me figure out what to do. So now we're going to answer some questions. Before that, first of all, I just want you guys to think about the situation that Jerome is in. Um, he really wanted to make friends with people. And so sometimes when you have a motive of, wanting someone to like you, um, you may not always advocate for yourself the way that you should. So in this situation, maybe Jerome should have, if he was uncomfortable with James taking his bike, maybe he should have stopped, said, "You know what? That's okay, no more. Um, you borrowed it a couple times. I don't want you to borrow it anymore." Or say, "Hey James, do you want me to show you how to save up to buy your own bike?" Maybe offer that advice that he had for saving up money for his own bike. So this is really tough because in life we do want people to like us and we want to have friends, but sometimes we have to realize the people that really are doing it for genuine concern, they're genuinely concerned about us and care about us, or they're just trying to look out for themselves and try to find ways to, take out, get things for themselves. So, anyways, this is a good one for you guys to think about. All right, the questions. So let's see here. Oopsie. Question one, Jerome's face showed how he felt about, I'm sorry, Jerome's face showed how he felt about James taking Big Red. He felt how? How did he feel when James took his bike? Unhappy, surprised, or joyful? Question two, when people take advantage of us and our belongings, they sometimes make us feel blank. Unhappy, surprised, joyful. What name did James give Jerome's bike? Big Bike, or Big Red? Question four, tell two things that James did that made Jerome wonder if he was a friend. James would help Jerome at work and gave his advice. James would play basketball with Jerome, and sometimes he would play baseball with Jerome. Sometimes James would go out of his way to talk to Jerome, and sometimes James totally ignored Jerome. Question five, what do you think would have happened if if Jerome told James he could not use his bike? So instead of Jerome letting him take his bike, well, he kind of just conceded, right? What if he said, no, you're not taking my bike? Um, what kind of person do we see James being? James would have taken the bike anyways. James would have ignored him. James would have tried to get Jerome fired. Why is it important to have friends at work? Because it helps you feel like you are part of the team. It's not important so that you can get married. And then don't forget to submit the quiz. Okay, now this is a good one, guys. Think about it. Think about what would you do in this situation if you were Jerome? I mean, just outside of these questions on this quiz, but just think about it. Have you been in a situation like that before where you feel pressured to, let people borrow your things, or say yes when you really want to say no to something? Have you felt that peer pressure? That's what that's called. All right. Let me know if you have any questions, guys. Take care.